Welcome back to the Boneyard Podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Shepard, along with my good friend, Artemis Brower. Artie, how we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm good, man. Had a good Thanksgiving holiday. Took some much-needed rest, some much-needed TLC. Hung out with family, ate good. Honestly, this might be the one Thanksgiving in my life where I actually didn't eat that much food, to be honest with you. I ate good, but I didn't eat that much. And that was the first for me.
I was doing good until I got to dinner. And then dinner came around.
Hold on. What?
What are you talking about?
Do you not understand what you just said? I was doing good till I got to dinner. Dinner is that's the whole.
No, Artie.
What are you saying?
When you live a life like mine,
what the hell did you have before dinner?
I mean, you got to remember, I have like 2 or 3 Thanksgiving meals every year
on the same day.
On the same day,
with like just different family members.
Yes.
Oh, that's too much moving. You did tell me that. You did tell me that.
I mean, what am I going to do? I mean,
I'm not doing all that.
And
no.
Can I say, my dad's side of the family, instead of doing, he likes to make fun of me. I once called his baked ziti poor man's baked ziti. My dad's side of the family decided to do the most absurd thing possible and decided that we were going to have our Thanksgiving at Golden Corral. I feel like that's the most white person thing you could do. Go to Golden Corral and eat Thanksgiving. But that's what we did. And then I'll tell you, I didn't eat much there. I had a bite of turkey. So
you did end up going to Golden Corral with them and partaking in that.
Yeah.
That is
not proud of it, Artie. I had half a plate. Then I only did 2 meals. That was it. Half a plate there, and I was like, okay, I'm doing okay. Like, don't overdo it at dinner, Jared. Like, this is prime time. And then I got to dinner, and that sweet potato casserole, and that mac and cheese, and that turkey, and that cranberry sauce, and that dressing, man, that hit. But the listeners don't care about what we had for Thanksgiving.
Look, I'll tell you though, for the right price, because you know your boy can cook. If your dad and family want somebody to cook for them next year on Thanksgiving, for the right price, I'm there. They don't have to have Golden Corral if they don't want it. For the right price, I'm there.
Trust me, Artie. No, that's I can't say what I want to say on the podcast. You're trying to get me in trouble here. No, it's hard. I was like, what are we doing? I mean, have you ever been to Walmart at 3:00 in the morning? Imagine what Golden Corral looks like on Thanksgiving afternoon.
I honestly low-key miss Walmart at 3:00 in the morning. I miss when Walmart was 24 hours. That's when I did my best shopping.
Artie avoids Cracker Barrel like the plague. I avoid Golden Corral.
It's just not that good.
I avoid Golden Corral like the plague, just because you might actually catch the plague if you're there.
Look, man, some of us like seasoned food.
Yeah.
Which is why I avoid Gold or Cracker Barrel like the plague.
Hey. I digress. I like Cracker Barrel. It depends what you get. All right, Artie, episode 173 of the Boneyard Podcast. Yes. A big one. We got I'm honestly, like, all day I've been worried that he's just not gonna show up. We got a big one. Donnie Kirkpatrick on the podcast tonight.
Yes.
So if you're watching right now, stay tuned. He's coming on around 8:30. All right, Artie, number 73. You got one for me?
I do have a 73. You know, Brandon kind of gave me the idea last week when he mentioned the 72-win Bulls. So I kind of want to follow that up with the team that beat that 72-win Bulls as far as regular season wins in a season. So I want to shout out the Golden State Warriors, who went 73-9 back in, God, when did they do that? I don't even remember the year they did. I think it was 2015, 2016. That's because they lost to the Cavs that year. So 2015, 2016 season, when they went 73-9 as a franchise. It's an absurd number of wins to do. And I mentioned them because I think their dynasty is kind of over at this point. I don't think Steph, Clay, and Draymond are ever going to win another championship again. But what a run it was. What a ride it was. 4 championships in 8 years. Just absolutely absurd. So shout out to the Golden State Warriors. Shout out to that 73-9 team. That's my 73 for the week.
All right. My 73, he's famous. He's a football player. Played for Baltimore, Tennessee, and the Carolina Panthers. You know where I'm going with this, Artie?
No.
Michael Orr.
Oh, wow. The Blind Side.
From The Blind Side. Yeah. One-time Super Bowl champ. Wore the number 73 for his 2 seasons here in Carolina. It didn't really do much. I mean, for the Panthers, did he? Like,
yeah, but he was still on the back end. I mean, I think he had like a 6 to 8 year career, which
he had an 8-year career,
which is really good for somebody. I mean, if you're not a Hall of Famer or not like a great football player, that's a pretty solid professional career. So,
yeah, I mean, not bad. Played quite a bit of snaps. I'm just looking at some of his. I mean, had over 4,100 snaps in his career, so not bad at all. Started in 13 playoff games and was a member of the 2009 All-Rookie team. All right, Artie, the Boneyard Podcast, proud to be members of the Variety Sports Podcast Network. Make sure you go check them out. Lots of great content going on, especially football playoffs coming right around the corner. You got basketball in swing. MLB postseason is or off season is heating up. Lots of great stuff going on. College football, everything. Anything you could want, we got it. The Variety Sports Podcast Network, the Boneyard Podcast, is proud to be members of that. So check them out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe to their YouTube. If you're watching there, subscribe to us at the Boneyard Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. All right, Artie, let's talk about this game against Tulsa. All right, I mean, ECU came out swinging, looked like a team on fire. We were saying, oh, man, where's this team been all year long? And then they still found a way to shit the bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that was the most ECU way to lose a football game that I've ever seen. Like, a couple calls get blown by the refs. Of course, it's Tulsa, but then you still have a chance to win, and then you still shit the bed. That is the epitome of an ECU loss. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Artie, I have to wonder. I've long said that I think that the play that broke ECU football was the Hail Mary against UCF in the last game of the season, of the regular season that year.
That didn't break ECU.
I've always said after that it was all downhill from there.
But we did come back as a program. I mean, you forget the last 2 seasons. We've had decent seasons the last. It's not like we've just been a dumpster fire ever since that play.
I mean,
we've been close to it. We've been close to it. We've been close to it, but it's not like we've been a complete dumpster fire.
But I hope I'm the optimist in me, Artie, is sitting here saying, I hope that what happened on last Saturday night is the thing that, all right, corrects the course, get bad karma, everything. We wipe our hands clean, and life gets back to being great as a Pirate.
Hey, let's just call it what it is. All right, going 2-10, those are things that happen to UMass. Those are things that happen to UConn. They don't happen in Greenville, North Carolina.
UMass taking a ricochet.
We have no rhyme or reason to be going 2-10. So in my personal opinion, this is as bad as it can possibly get. It literally should not ever get any worse than what we witnessed this past season. This is as rock bottom as it should ever get in Greenville, North Carolina, with this ECU football program, with the kind of history and pageantry and tradition and pride, whole lot of pride that we have in this football program. So yes, I that was the most ECU way to lose a football game. We've seen heartbreakers before, like we've been fans for a decade plus. We know what heartbreak looks like. We've seen ECU lose these games that they should not lose at the end of it. When you got a lead with 2.5 minutes and you fumble the ball, you give them the ball right back and you kick the game with a field goal and walk off into the sunset. So we've seen this story before, but hopefully this is kind of the final nail in the coffin of, okay, it just cannot get any worse than this. Obviously, we are going to be making offensive changes. Obviously, we're going to be working that portal. And I'm sure we're getting to some of these kids that are, transferring out, have hit the portal. We should be hitting the portal hard this offseason, doing everything we can to get some new guys in. But I don't know. To me, it was a fitting way for ECU to end the season. You don't like to see it. Obviously, you want to see the seniors go out a whole lot better than what they did. But this was a fitting way for ECU football to end their season, truthfully.
I agree. I mean, it was you couldn't have scripted it any better for how this season had gone, right? Now defense, a lot of the bend don't break that we've had over the last 2 years, they weren't as crisp as they had been throughout the entire season.
Yeah,
but they still gave ECU an opportunity to win the football game. That's the good, right? I mean, Jeremy Lewis, ultimate Pirate, Greenville kid. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah,
right. I mean, played lights out. Julius Wood. I was sitting there thinking, like, if Julius Wood goes undrafted, whoever picks him up as an undrafted free agent, either way, some GM is gonna be looking like he is the smartest man in the world when he brings on Julius Wood, because that dude can ball. That dude's all over the place, and he's got the size, he's got the talent, got the heart. So I mean, that guy's gonna make a great pro. We're going to see him play on Sundays for sure. Yeah, don't make the same mistake you made with Jaquan and Keaton.
Yeah, seriously.
Do not make that same mistake.
Seriously.
You have 7 opportunities to pick this man up. Pick him up. I mean, he's the real deal. Overall, I mean, defense, I was happy with the defense, right? Like, it wasn't like they got blown out and beat up. I mean, there was a play or two to start the game. I believe it was a 2-play or 3-play drive. Tulsa went down and scored pretty quickly, and I was like, "Oh boy, here we go. This is gonna be a long game." And then ECU figured it out. Your thoughts on the defense and what was good from this game, Artie?
Yeah, I mean, I think defensively, obviously, it wasn't the day that we would expect or want to have defensively, but I think a lot of that is just the toll of the season. I think a lot of that's just where we stood. I think, if anything, you go out there, you play hard for the seniors, you play hard because it's your last game. You play hard because Coach Kirkpatrick is not coming back for next season. But the writing's on the wall. So you can see why defense is probably tired. Defense knows you're not going to a bowl game. Defense knows, hey, all right, we're just kind of getting back to the drawing board. Now, these are not excuses. And it's not like we played a horrible defensive game, but I do think that factors into it, just kind of knowing in the back of your mind, let's just go out here and try to play hard for the seniors, for the guys on this group that won't be here next year. But we really got to get back to the drawing board. Really, what I take away is the offense from this game. I'm just happy about the fight that our offense showed. I mean, we, for one of the rare times this season, the offense looked competent, put up over 400 yards of total offense. I think had like 225 yards of rushing yards in this game, like a ECU offense of old. Just what we were able to do rushing, and then overall, Alex Flynn, he had 2 touchdown passes. He also had 2 interceptions, but still, kind of played a pretty decent game. I'm just happy with the fight that our offense showed, because they could have tucked tail and ran and really not came out and tried to win this one. But they did. They came out. Obviously, they made their mistakes. You had the Rajay Harris fumble, and then again you had the two interceptions by Flynn. But they showed some fight. They showed some spunk. They showed the tenacity to want to come out and win. And that's really, I said this last week on the podcast, that's all I wanted to see. I just wanted to see this team come out and fight, compete, try to get a win. I didn't necessarily need to see a win. Would have loved to have seen a win. But obviously, we know the writing on the wall with this season. I'm just happy that it came out and showed a little bit of fight towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, can't say that they gave up. They didn't toss in the towel, right? I don't know where to go from here. We've already seen guys are entering the portal from the offense.
Yeah.
Defense, I have a feeling, is going to stick together pretty well.
It's good defense, man. They have no reason to kind of they know what they can be.
A source was telling me, I mean, they feel pretty confident about the defense, and they were telling me that they feel they feel like they're only a couple pieces away on offense. A lot of the guys that are transferring out, Artie, hate to say it, they're guys that have been on the bench. They're looking for some playing time, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, by all means, go get your flowers somewhere else. If you think you can play somewhere else, by all means, do what's best for you. We haven't lost anybody outside of maybe Tegan Wilk was hard last week. From the podcast.
Yeah. Did not like losing Tegan.
And then Mason Garcia was tough, but look, I mean, we saw Mason Garcia this year. It didn't work out. And I can't blame him. I mean, the kid sat for 4 years behind hole nailers, finally got a shot, and then he couldn't make it happen. Right. So I don't blame him. Hopefully he can figure it out somewhere else. We'll cheer for him there. Unless he plays the parts.
Yeah, I mean, you're 1,000% rooting for Mason. I absolutely hope he lands on his feet and can be able to find some success somewhere else. I mean, we're talking about when he came in, the most highly rated recruit that we had ever had. So, and obviously the expectations were maybe the expectations were a little bigger or higher than what they should have been on him when he came in. But he did sit for a tremendously long time. He was extremely loyal to this program when he did not have to be, when he could have transferred out earlier. And unfortunately, I feel like we failed him as a program because we weren't able to develop him into what we needed for him to be for this program. Do put some of the blame on him as well because that's personal development as well. But I'm rooting. I am a Mason Garcia fan. I'm rooting for him and hope that he lands on his feet wherever he goes.
Yeah, same here. And I mean, the guys that are leaving, going back to that, Artie, we kind of need them to leave, right? Like, if we're wanting to retool this offense and retool this roster,
gotta be fresh.
You gotta have scholarship spots to pull these guys in, right? You got to be able to offer guys something. So if you're going after JUCO transfers or going after other kids in the portal, you got to have somewhere to put them, right? So ECU, while you hate to see, I mean, Brock Winstead into the portal. I mean, long snapper, but I mean, friend of the podcast, Peyton Winstead's brother in the portal. So all in all, it's tough to see guys go, but you know that this opens up the opportunity for more guys to come in and be successful in the purple and gold.
Yeah.
Ari, all right, let's we talked about the good and the bad, the ugly. There were some times during that game where I was thinking, oh, is this the Tulsa Screwjob version 2? And I think a lot of people were like, oh, shit,
was an interception.
I don't know how you overturn that.
I watched that play like 6-7 times. Like, come on, man. That's an interception. It was a pick.
Like, give it to him, man. Give it to him. Between that and, I mean, I swear, nobody can get called for holding against East Carolina, apparently. Why do we not call holding ever? I mean, It doesn't matter. We're 2-10. It's not the reason we're 2-10. But ECU and Tulsa. I mean, we were all expecting it to hit the over hit, and
Yeah.
we almost hit it in the first half.
I'm okay with it. Shame on us. I'm okay. That would be the game in the battle of the suck. That would be the game that hits the over, and the offenses come out and say, "You know what? I heard what y'all had to say on y'all podcast. To hell with y'all." So,
yeah. Honestly, at least we got an entertaining one. We had fun. I was talking to somebody else this week, and they said, "What are your thoughts on ECU's defense and the team as a whole this year?" And I said, at least the defense made it where every game was at least somewhat interesting. Otherwise, it could have been real bad, real quick.
Yeah.
And so yeah, shout out to the defense. And then lastly, the last ugly I'll have already. That play call. I mean, all you gotta do is get a first down. That or you need it, and if you have to punt it and give them terrible field position, they have a minute and a half to go down the field. What were your thoughts on the play call? Why do you call it direct snap?
We're talking about Rowdy's fumble.
Yes. If you want to call it that, yes.
You expect the mechanics of that play to go better than what they are. I mean, if we're being honest, it's not so much the play call. To me, it's about the mechanics of that play, and that's one of those plays that should go off without a hitch. That's just basic football. It's a direct snap. It's basic football. I mean, that play should go off without a hitch. That should not be one of those plays that's that difficult to execute. I get it. In hindsight, okay, you could have called this, you could have called that, yada, yada. That's not a difficult play to execute. It's just not.
Yeah, I don't know. In my head, I was like, just do something simple. Do what you need to do, Donnie.
I mean, you do that 60 times in practice every single day. Like it's just I get it. I get it. There could have been a better play call, but I'm gonna give that a little bit of a rest because the mechanics should have been there. That's just not a hard play to execute. It's just not. Not at that level. Not at, maybe Pee Wee football, but not at that level should that be a hard play to execute.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. Just do something simple. All season we've done something simple. Do something simple with the last 2 minutes of the season. That to me that's where my head went. Like, why get fancy now? So yeah, already final takeaway on the 2023 ECU Pirates.
I'm so happy we done talking about the football season. My final takeaway is I'm so happy we done talking about it. that's my final takeaway. Honestly, I mean, you do know how hard it's been to come on here every week and talk about ECU football. But it's not because we don't like ECU football. It's because we love ECU football so much and we're so invested. And we drive hours out of our way to be at these games. And it's like, oh my goodness. Please help us out. Help me help you. But it's done, right? It's in the past. It's done. Pirate Nation, breathe a sigh of relief. You don't have to watch no more football games outside of, at least as it pertains to ECU for this season. We digress. We hit the reset button. We do what we have to do in the transfer portal. We do what we have to do to develop these players, continuously developing these guys that we already have and making them better so they can grow. We go find a killer offensive coordinator if we can do it, and a quarterback. There have been plenty of quarterbacks at the portal. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention the last couple of days. A lot of quarterbacks hit that portal. We should be greedy and aggressive and be saying, why not? Why the hell not? Let's just go for it, right? So, but my final takeaway is it can't get much worse than this year. So on to next year, baby. We can't, even if we finish 3-9, it's not gonna be worse than what we did this year. So it can't be. For sure.
Well, Artie, we teased it already. We got a new friend of the podcast coming on, longtime ECU coach and now former ECU offensive coordinator, Donnie Kirkpatrick. Donnie, welcome to the Boneyard Podcast. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going good now that I'm in the big time here with this going on.
I wouldn't go that far. So
it is what you think it is. That's the way it's got to be. Yeah.
That's for sure. Now, Donnie, quick question. I mean, now that you're ended the season, right? Like,
yes.
What's like the last 4 days been for you after the last game?
Well, it's been unusual, obviously, because I haven't been getting up at 5 a.m. and going to work. That's one thing. But I wish I could sleep a little later. But unfortunately, as you get older, you start getting up earlier and earlier anyhow. But it's been really busy, more than I probably would have thought it would have been, in that everybody that I know has been calling me, okay, or text messaging me. And in the coaching world, we do stay up with guys, but it's usually at the end of the season, I guess, or just really quick messages. And now we're having long phone calls because we have a little bit of time. And I guess the guys working are not out on the road till next week, so they're in the office a little bit. But I've actually had a chance to talk with a lot of people that are not in the sports world like that. And then it's been cleaning my closet out. How about that? That's been something that's been many years in the making. And Goodwill's getting a good load here for Christmas of a lot of things that I don't know how long they've been there. I don't even know why they've made the trip from the last place. My wife's been telling me this for 4 or 5 years now. And so I've taken some time and cleaning the closet out.
I'm sure if you're in Greenville, go check out the Goodwill. You could probably find some good ECU merch here in the next week or so.
Some of it still got the tags on it. Yeah, come get it.
Artie, do you have any questions to start?
Yeah, I mean, just want to ask, because I know you mentioned you're not waking up at 5 a.m. anymore, not going through that daily grind the last few days. But what are some of the things that you are going to miss as far as that day-to-day grind, the day-to-day process at East Carolina that you're going to miss?
The number one thing for coaches that we're going to miss, and already missing it somewhat, is the same thing you tell the players that is what they're going to miss the most, is the camaraderie, with your teammates. And so what you miss is, even though we were stuck down in this little hole, it seems like, of an office, offensive staff room, no windows where we were at, 2 doors, but no windows, no access to the outside world. You better have some guys in there you like anyhow. And unfortunately, we've had that, but you just miss the guys. The coaches are just older players that have grown up. It's still the locker room talk. It's still the antics, still the jokes and those type things like that. And that's what I'll miss the most. And really already been missing that. Luckily, I've been able to talk with all the guys, but still that face-to-face and that daily stuff. And yeah, you miss the grind a little bit. I mean, maybe not for the first week or so.
Yeah.
But I think the challenges, the thing that gets most of the coaches that I've talked to that now have gotten out of it is they say you just don't have that. You don't have that nervousness, which is I would love to get rid of some of that. But they say you don't also have that, that achievement, at the end of the week, because the harder the game, the more enjoyable it is if you do well. Now, when you have a year like we had this year, you're probably not going to miss some of those disappointments. But for the most part, I've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had that many bad years. Most of our years have been pretty good. The first 2 coming back, we're not great as far as wins, losses, but we kind of knew that coming in that, we weren't going to be able to turn it around that quickly. But even all the other schools I've been at, we've usually had pretty good success. So I'm sure those things will come maybe in the fall, when you don't have that competitiveness going.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, while we're kind of talking about it, I mean, the last 2 years, I mean, under Ho Nailers, great success. I mean, all-time great ECU legend, right? Greenville legend. He's got it all the accolades. Then this year, we knew it was going to be a tougher year on the offense. You lost a lot of guys. I believe it was like 80% of your production you lost, right? And you come into the season, there was a lot of talk. Now, if you could go back, let's say you could go back to this time last year after the bowl game, is there something you would maybe do differently, or maybe even take it 2 years back? Like, is there something you would do differently to prepare for this season after Holden Ahlers?
Yeah, I tell you, and I appreciate you bringing up the 2 good years there that we had, because we did really have 2 good years there. You know, we had some signs even the first couple of years offensively of doing some pretty good things. You know, the SMU game comes to mind down there at SMU where we scored 40 high. You know, even Cincinnati, who had the great team already going on, you know, we scored in the 40s against those guys. So we had some signs even earlier, probably from the second week on. The Tulsa game, we played really well out there, kind of got the game pulled from us. We thought on some bad calls. But, yeah, those are the good memories. Going into this year, you know, I was concerned. I knew we couldn't be quite as good offensively as we had been last year. I mean, you can't lose 6 guys to NFL contracts on one side of the ball, just on the offense. And then 2,000-yard receivers, 1,400-yard receiver, all-time great quarterback, and then 2 of the offensive linemen, you know, go in the portal. The portal hurt us there. You know, one went and started every game for Auburn and did pretty darn good, I hear. The other one was starting at Oregon until he got injured, and then he wasn't able to get back in the lineup because they're so good. Yeah, so I was, you know, you're concerned. But at the same time, we knew we were going to be better on defense this year. We knew that we had done well in the portal defensively, and we knew we had a lot of returning guys. And so we were optimistic that we could still win games. You know, maybe we weren't going to win them like we won the Temple game, 49-46. But we thought, you know, we can win some of those games. And I did think that we would develop. I thought the 2 quarterbacks between the 2 would come on. I knew we wouldn't maybe start off against Michigan, you know, with a huge game. But I really thought that we would get there. I thought the receivers would come on. I knew Chase Sowell was going to eventually be pretty good. They had a setback with the concussion at the Michigan game. So I guess the question, though, was what would we do differently? I think we would have made some different decisions. I don't want to be negative toward any of the players in any way, you know, or any of the other coaches, but I do think that we probably would have maybe played the game in the portal a little better, you know, with maybe some other transfers at some other positions. We had gotten kids the year before, like Isaiah Winstead, who worked out great.
Yeah.
But he was a 1-for-1. We felt like we needed that. Well, that did pay off. We made the right decision, but it was a 1-for-1. With Justin Redd, who came in and played left tackle, it was a 1-for-1. Played well for us, but it was a 1-for-1. So we made some decisions that we thought, well, we don't want to be that kind of team where we're always just taking guys that are 1-for-1 because you're always having to rebuild. And you know what? You're not going to always be right. I don't care who you are. Vince Lombardi, Nick Saban, you're not going to be 100% on recruiting. You're going to have some that are going to pan out better than you expect, and some are not going to pan out as well as you had hoped. So we kind of took younger kids and tried to build maybe a more consistent team, and probably needed a couple of older guys, you know, in some different positions. So I think we would have probably made some of those decisions a little differently. And a lot of those decisions were mine, you know what I'm saying? So I take ownership for that.
Gotcha. And, you know, Coach, obviously, you know, offensively, we were not where we wanted to be this year. And you just touched on that. But I know a lot of people, they don't really understand, you know, from the outside looking in, you know, a lot of couch potatoes, you know, as we say, or couch coaches, we don't understand how hard it is to, you know, put out a consistent product week by week, consistently good. So just from a coach's perspective, how hard is that to put out a consistently good product week to week at this level?
And it's the key to being good, though, you know what I'm saying? But it is extremely hard. You know, I have a saying, and I always tell the players, you know, the definition of a great player or a great team is a player or a team that is consistently good. You know, you hit one long putt, that don't mean you're a good putter. You know, you make one long shot, you're not a good shooter. You know what I'm saying? It's who can do it consistently. How many do you make out of 10? How many, you know, in football, how many do you win out of 12? So that is the key. And that is going to get more difficult with the new portal and the new NIL because teams are changing and turning their rosters over quicker and quicker. So you're going to sometimes see teams that are really bad. They're going to get really good quickly. And you're going to see other teams that are just not going to be as consistently good because then the next year the team's going to turn over and they may not, you know, do as well. But that really is the key. But it's so hard. And, you know, we are dealing with 18 to 22-year-old young men too. There's a lot of things going on in their lives at that time too. What kind of week are they having? How's the girlfriend treating them that week? How's mom and dad doing? There are a lot of issues that I just see it all the time. And I say, man, some of these kids are from some tough situations. They got a lot of things pulling them a lot of different directions. Because, you'll see them just maybe at a practice on a Tuesday and Wednesday. You'd be like, man, what's wrong with him? Something back at home, all kind of different pressures. We going into the last game, we had an offensive lineman that his mom called and said, you got to come home. Her boyfriend was putting hands on her. I need you home to protect me. Well, his mind ain't on football that week, and it shouldn't have been. It was family way more important than football game. So there's just things like that happen to these young men, and sometimes they're up and down a little bit because of that, and that's a little bit uncontrollable for that. But again, it's the good teams are finding a way to be consistent. A lot of that's due to depth. You know what I'm saying? That you got another player that can step up, because injury is a huge part of the game as well, and you can't control that. We thought Javius Bond would be a really, really good sidebar to Rajee Harris this week. I thought we would, maybe I'm not saying he was going to be Keaton Mitchell year one, but we thought that we saw that ability and we could have that thunder and lightning type of attack again. At the Michigan game, he showed that. He had 7 touches and averaged 7 yards a touch in there, and we thought we're on to something. Well, then injuries just beat him down this year. And as soon as he came back from one injury, he got injured again. And in the rest of the year, he was never quite the same. He's going to have a bright future. He will, but those things happen. And, Rajee was coming back from a serious injury, and that's something that takes at least a year. Obviously, he didn't have quite a year before the first few games. I think by the last game, we all saw the Rajee Harris. That last game, that was the Rajee Harris that we've all seen before, and we'll see again, I'm sure. Now, a lot of it wasn't always his issue. Sometimes you got to help him a little bit. But, that's the thing. We weren't very consistent. We weren't very good on offense, period. Again, I take all responsibility for that, because that's the way it works, and that's a sad thing. And that's the only negative to leaving this year is, a lot of people told me I should have left last year. When we had that bowl, had all the ticker tape going out there and everybody was telling you how good you were. But you know what? Coaches aren't smart enough to do that. You always think you can come back and do it one more time. You think, well, we won 7, we won 8. I'm sure somehow we'd find a way to win 9. You're not always right, though.
Yeah, I think going into the season this year, already looked at me crazily when I said I thought this team could win 8 games. I genuinely thought that they could.
Well, I'm not so sure we still couldn't have. It would have been an ugly 7, 8, 9 wins. But, you look back at the way the season went, and I do think that sometimes, and I've been doing it so long that I think I handle it better than other people do. But, the game is turned into everybody wants excitement. Everybody's trying to get fans in the stand. You're trying to get people to watch. You're trying to get likes, trying to get clicks, trying to get NIL money. You know what I'm saying? So people want more flash. I don't think we could have won 49 to 46 games this year. I don't think it would have happened. We wouldn't have been able to win games like that. We could have won some games. The other night, we could have won 27 to something or 30 to something like that. We could have won the Charlotte game with a low-scoring game. We had our chances. We missed the field goal. We had a chance at the 2-minute at the end of the game. We missed on a scoring drive earlier in the game. I think sometimes the kids felt the pressure of we're not scoring enough. I think we panicked a little bit. I think they hear the noise a little bit more than we like to think they do. We should have just tried to win the game and went home. And we looked up at the end of the year, and we weren't that good, but look what we did. We won 8 or 9 games and just build from that. But, those things in hindsight now.
Yeah,
for sure. You talk about the NIL and the transfer portal. Now sitting in the seat that you're sitting in and kind of knowing all you know about what's going on in college football, you always hear about these kids that are getting recruited or getting offered kind of under the table.
Yeah.
How much of that's going on? Like, are guys telling you like, hey, this coach is reaching out to me? Like, you don't have to say who, but like, are you hearing about that?
Well, there's surely rumors, and half things are true and half things are not true. And there is a lot of exaggeration, I think, to some things. And there is a lot of money being exchanged out there. There's no doubt about that. Though I think it is highly inflated. And as the stories go, everybody likes to add a zero to it, I think, a little bit. But I do know for a fact is, when we lost Avery Jones last year, and we lost Ashad Strother, there was pretty good money being exchanged there, because I know the families and I knew the kids. I'd recruited both of those kids, and I know the high school coaches really well. And I don't know that there's any rules being broken necessarily that you could pin on someone, because there's a way around it. The rules right now are so vague and they're so flexible that it's almost hard to break a rule anymore, meaning that you can follow a young man through social media before he goes in the portal. And when he sees that you follow him and goes, oh, this is a coach at so-and-so school. Oh, 4 or 5 coaches on that staff are following me. That's basically saying, hey, we're interested in you. You know what I'm saying? Why else are they just following a guy? They're not messaging him until he goes into the portal. They don't have to. They've already sent that message. And then there's a lot of ways of getting around things, like you can call the high school coach and just say, hey, how's so-and-so doing? He went to whatever university, and they get the answer and say, well, if you ever talk to him, God, we sure wanted him. If anything ever happens at that other school, we sure would. We saw where he's not playing as much, or he's not doing as much, or how much money are they paying him? Has he ever shared that with you? Because, our guys are making this much money, and I'm sure he would make that here too. Just, if you ever talk to him or something like that, which is basically telling that coach, if he comes home, or if you do talk to him, which a lot of high school coaches usually follow their guys, they may pass that along. So I don't know that there's any way you could go put a violation on anybody, but it's definitely going on. In today's world, with the PFF stuff, you can watch every kid play every snap, and you can filter it a ton of different ways. So, it's almost like an NFL room now. In the recruiting room, you've got a recruiting board and you got a transfer board over here, just like they got a free agency board. So you're looking at it and saying, wow, we haven't done as well here at left guard, or whatever position it may be, or we're thin, or we got somebody hurt. Look over here at this other board, and there's people you're tracking a little bit. Now, some of that's because you've recruited them before out of high school, and some of it's just because another coach has joined your staff and recruited that guy from another place. So before long, you got 4 or 5 different coaches in there. You've covered the country pretty good.
Wow. And Coach, I want to ask you this. This time, because football season just ended.
Yeah.
But this time next year, what do you think that you are doing this time next year? Are you coaching again? Do you have that itch to get back into the coaching realms, or are you chilling on somebody's beach drinking cocktails? What is Coach Kirkpatrick doing?
Well, I got a lot of good options in that way, because I'm really good at those cocktails on the beach. I've got that down pretty good. And I really do believe that I probably could be the club champion pickleball, doubles champion. I've already got my son practicing so we can win the father-son championship. And my wife's not come around yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to talk her into mixed doubles a little bit like that too. So the competitiveness is going to be there one way or the other.
Yeah.
My golf game could surely use some work, and it would give me a chance to start doing that. I'm now the age where I can play from the senior tees, so I feel like I'm going to get quite a boost with that a little bit. But I don't know. What I'm saying? This week's been just kind of a weird week, but I've been really busy. I've kind of stayed busy on purpose. In a couple of weeks, I might be bored to death here a little bit, and you never know with this coaching carousel. But I've loved my time at East Carolina. I was very fortunate to get to come here the first time with Skip Holtz. We came into a very similar situation when the program was really, really down. Mm-hmm. We got it turned around, got it to bowl games, got it to division championships, then won conference championships, and those are some great memories. I was very fortunate to recruit some great players and coach some unbelievably players here. So those were great experiences. I had the misfortune or fortune of leaving then when some people that didn't know what they were doing decided that Ruff and McNeil needed to leave. And that was an interesting thing there that people are still paying for. But I landed at James Madison with Coach Houston. where we won the national championship, and that's pretty hard to do. So I'll cherish that. I thought, well, if nothing else, this is why I left, because how many times are you going to get a chance to win a national championship? We were runner-up for a national championship. We were third round, and had some great players there too. And had the National Player of the Year, Brian Short, and had Ben DiNucci, who got drafted by the Cowboys at quarterback. And so, I surely would have hated to have missed out in life and getting a chance to coach those guys. And then, we came back here and played one time too, and had a pretty good night against the Pirates. First time I'd pulled against the Pirates before. But that was a pretty good memory, walking off that field right there, winning that game. And then lo and behold, Coach don't call me down to the office and say, what do you think about going back to East Carolina? And of course, I was the one said, you better take that one. You know what I'm saying? That's a good gig right there. And you know what? The first 2 years were a lot of work. But we knew that going in. But getting a chance to coach Holton Ahlers and some of these other guys, Tyler Snead. Tyler Snead was a guy that I turned down at James Madison. We could have signed him, and we turned him down. And I'll tell you what, after I got here and saw him, I said, the best thing I ever did was not recruit you at James Madison, because now we're going to get a chance to coach you here. And that was fun. Blake Prohl was another great story like that. I was recruiting Blake Prohl from his sophomore year because I had the Charlotte area, and didn't get a chance to finish that part of it, but then got a chance to, let him play for us. So awesome things. And then to get to the first bowl game, I'm telling you, the kids were that was unbelievable what the feeling after having been beat down for 2 or 3 years to get it. Now, we didn't get to play the game. That was kind of a ho-hum deal there a little bit. We're still claiming that as a win, by the way, and we always will. And then last year, though, to just, have such a good year offensively. We had a couple bad games. I wish the consistency, the Houston game comes to mind after we'd lost at Cincinnati, which I'll go to my grave saying if Keaton Mitchell doesn't get knocked out in that game, we win that one by double digits, because we were going to. And I think we didn't handle getting knocked out of the conference race. But then to win the bowl game, I think ECU's been to 20 bowl games. I've been to 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? And to get another win there, that was pretty good right there. So I have no regrets. Been blessed to be here. You have a bad year, it's going to happen. Somebody's got to take it, you know what I'm saying? And you know what? They won't be down for long, though. They'll get that thing built back. It's hard on schools this level right now. It's harder than ever, though, I think, with the NIL, because competing with the money part, and then, with the portal, because if you get a kid and you get him developed, he gets to be pretty good. And now, with the kids, the way they go to summer school, everybody's graduating in 3 years now, and 3.5. Now you can just go transfer again. So now you got a double transfer. So it's going to be hard to hold on to players here because the other people will poach them, no doubt about it. And so it's a challenge. It's a challenge to win here and to win here consistently, but it's a great place to win at when you're there and you're doing it.
For sure. Donnie, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I was texting some people, and one of them told me that you were he called you and this was endearingly, called you a little angry man at times. Any guesses on who that might be?
There could be a long list of those guys. I don't know. So I've been called the little general before in many places. I've been called Napoleon a little bit. I need to watch that movie to see how bad or how good that actually is or whatever. But what I always say is, if they remember you, then you've done your job probably one way or the other. So I hope that they know that all my anger was intended just to get us better, though. So I don't know. There might have been Maceo, though, because he's shorter than me.
No, it was not Maceo. No, this was a pretty big guy. Tight end that I talked to, and he told me, he said I asked him if there was any specific moments or stories that he had about working with you, and he said that he could just remember one film session you started screaming and about scared him. He's one of the biggest guys I've ever stood next to. So. Bryce Williams.
I can really say that had to be my boy Bryce then, who was an amazing story. Bryce, his family were ECU, and his twin brother, which is kind of like the movie Twins a little bit, with Danny DeVito, I guess, and the other guy. They look that much differently. And, Bryce, we didn't recruit him. He was a good high school player, but we just didn't go on him. And he went and walked on Marshall. And his brother came to walk on as a kicker here. And then we were up playing Marshall, and his mother came over to see the brother and brought it up at the hotel about get my other son back down to East Carolina and get him out of here. And he ended up coming, walking on, obviously earned a scholarship. And, when I was here working with Lincoln and those guys, Lincoln had never coached a tight end. They never had a tight end in the offense when he went to school or had coached there at Texas Tech. They never had a tight end. So we got here with Skip. We'd had all these tight ends, and he didn't know what to do with them. He was like, what are we going to do with all these tight ends? And 2 or 3 of them transferred out. And Bryce was kind of a wannabe wide receiver, but we were like, you're growing into a tight end. And once we started playing with the tight ends, Lincoln fell in love with him. And then we really had something special with him because he really turned out to be a great player. He really did. And he really was a lot of fun to coach, to be honest with you. He took all that anger well then.
Such a good guy. I went to high school with Bryce Williams.
All right, so you're from Lexington.
I am from Lexington.
My wife's from Lexington.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah,
Good barbecue. Good barbecue and good looking women and barbecue.
Damn right. Now I got to ask, Eastern style versus Lexington style.
I grew up more west.
Right.
And so barbecue wasn't a very big deal. And if you've ever eaten the Western barbecue, you know why it wasn't that big a deal. So we didn't rave about it. When I had an uncle and aunt that lived in Salisbury, and I were like, no, that's pretty special. And then when I met Misty, then really got hooked on the Lexington barbecue. But I will say, after a few years in Greenville, the stronger vinegar based taste started to take hold of me. So it's kind of a little bit of a coin toss between the two for me. I love them both probably a little bit too much.
That same here. I could eat barbecue every day.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. And one of the questions we've like I said, I reached out to a couple people, and one of the questions that all of them told me I should ask, and I don't know if you've ever done this before. You've coached some great guys, some great athletes.
Yeah, I know this.
If you could put and say, okay, this is my all-star team, my pro Donnie Kirkpatrick team, all Donnie Kirkpatrick team. Maybe just the skill positions. Who would you put?
Well, it would be tough. At wide receiver, Justin Hardy with those hands and that work ethic. That's another great story. How we ended up getting him to walk on, and then obviously didn't take long for him to earn that scholarship though. But there's never been anybody got better hands than Justin Hardy, and just phenomenal work ethic and young man. Zay Jones was pretty good. I had Zay for 240 of the catches. I didn't get a chance to coach him the last year, which that was a little bit of a disappointment, but he didn't need me by then for sure. Zay had the greatest work ethic of anybody, though. Zay, every drill, everything he did was absolutely full speed. The DBs hated Zay when he was a freshman. They kept telling him, calm down, rookie. Calm down, rookie. This ain't a full-speed drill. And Zay would tell him, I ain't got but one speed. And for long, they all started liking him, though, when he started catching touchdowns in the game.
Yeah.
So I'd have to have both of them out there, I guess, and I guess Bryce would have to be my tight end since he's still here to hear these things. And that would be a good one, though, to have in there. Dwayne Harris would have to be somewhere, though. He'd have to be the H, the hybrid or something, your Wildcat quarterback. Dwayne Harris has the true distinction of they changed the rule because of him. The rule used to be you could block a guy, till the whistle or whatever, and they changed the rule to where you couldn't block the guy once he got out of bounds. You had to let him go because Dwayne put 4 guys into the stadium wall. He about broke the kid's back at Southern Mississippi one night. He flipped the guy over the bench and the red tips in Carolina. The most phenomenal blocker ever. He hurt people in the game. He was so good at blocking, and obviously he was pretty good with the ball in his hands as well. And obviously probably maybe the most popular of all the guys too. Hardy and Zay always said they'd never seen anything like it. Dwayne actually dropped a pass on a flea flicker in a game, and the crowd still clapped for him because they thought he made great effort on it. He said, no way you could drop a pass and the crowd still clap for you, but except Dwayne Harrison, the only one that could ever happen for. But the people respected him and loved to watch him play so much. You know, Chris Johnson was a pretty good running back, you know, in here that too. And, you know, a lot of people don't know that Chris actually played receiver for me 1 year. So when we got here, the very first year was his sophomore year. Chris literally broke his neck in the last game of the year against UAB, and then missed the entire winter, the entire spring, and the summer. And then they said he was released to come back and play. So Coach Holtz, with his speed and everything, and thought, well, you know, the kid just had an injury like that. He can't play running back. He'll never stick it up in there. And we were a really downhill I formation team, if you remember, with Skip. And so he said, we're going to move you to wide receiver, which he didn't like. And he brought him into my meeting room one day, and I think Chris was shooting like laser darts at me through his eyes, but he didn't want to be there. But kept saying, you'll be an NFL guy if you can learn to play receiver with that speed. And that lasted for about half the year, and somebody got hurt. We had to move him back to running back. And then the next year, you know, obviously history tells you how good he got that next year, because Skip told him, said, now, if you don't win the job, you're going back to receiver. And he said, I'm winning that running back job. And he did, and never looked back. But we'd be pretty good if we give him the ball back there. You know, I saw Greg Hudson today. Some of you may remember Greg was the D coordinator here at that time. And I remember we were at Memphis, and D'Angelo Williams was playing for them, and Chris was playing for us, two future NFL guys, and it was a shootout. And I remember that Chris broke a couple runs back to back, took them to the house, first play of the series, and Hunt ran down there and hollered. I was the one signaling the plays and slow down, quit scoring so fast. I think I never thought anybody could do that. But then they were giving it to D'Angelo, and we couldn't stop him. But eventually we outscored them. So that'd be pretty special. The quarterback would be the toughest thing. You know, being here watching Shane Carden, obviously I didn't coach Shane. You know, he was pretty special, and you know, it took him 2 or 3 years before he got the starting job here. He was on the scout team for 2 straight years. He's pretty good. But, you know, Hope Naylor's is always going to have a special place, because he got this place back to being good again after it had really, really gotten so bad. Now, I had some other good players at other schools, but I feel like we'll probably just talk about the Pirates since it's the Boneyard Podcast.
Yeah.
Damn right. Artie, any other questions you have? Otherwise, I got one more question for
go ahead and hit him with that last one.
All right, Donnie. We asked this question to anybody that has anything to do with East Carolina University.
Okay.
All right, this is going to be the toughest question we ask you the entire podcast. All right. You talked about liking cocktails on a beach. I like cocktails downtown Greenville at this little establishment called Sup Dogs. Yeah. Okay, you go into Sup Dogs. Maybe it's after a victory. Maybe it's after a tough game. What is your order to celebrate or to drown a bad game?
Well, I don't get to usually go to Sup Dogs after the game in that environment, but I did get to go there a lot when we take the recruits there, and usually that's a pretty positive. If you can get a good spring day, you get out there on the outer deck right there, you can probably turn a recruit's head just a little bit. And those of you that have been there probably know it's not all just the food. Brett does a great job with the food, but it's the atmosphere and the view. But you know, those tater tots would have to be the little the hors d'oeuvre right there. I think would be hard to turn those things down with the Sup sauce. And then I'd have to go with the burger. It's got the fries on it. You know, it's kind of my jam with that a little bit right there. And then if I could sneak it into maybe a different cup, that grapefruit crush or whatever they got, it's pretty special, I'd say.
For sure.
Man, out to my own heart right there. That's a perfect order.
I mean, yeah, that might be one of the best orders we've had. We get guys on here. We get athletes at times sometimes saying, "Oh no, I'm getting the chicken tenders or some." I'm like, dude, come on, you're gonna burn it off in practice. Come on,
ups now.
Big John will get you right.
That's right. That's what all those workouts are for. Yeah.
All because Brett and Sup Dogs does such a great job.
Yeah, he's been great to the program. He has been a big ally and been a true asset for our recruiting.
Donnie, real quick, I just saw our producer who's backstage Josh wanted to ask a question. Do you mind if he asks one last question?
No.
Josh, take it away.
How you doing, Coach? So
did Josh
I
freeze?
know that you are from.
Or did I freeze?
I can hear you, Jared.
I can hear everybody.
Okay.
All right. Donnie, so you went to South Caldwell, am I correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. I went to Hickory, so I have a question for you. Did you recruit Landon Dickerson?
Well, I tried to. Landon Dickerson, I went to Lenore-Ryan, and I played with his dad at Lenore-Ryan. So I know his dad, and I knew him well. And my younger brother, Mark, was the head coach at South Caldwell. Now, my father had been the head coach there. We opened the school up. My senior class was the first year. We went to the state championship, and unfortunately, we didn't win the state championship game. We got right to it and got beat. But Landon started to Hickory, I guess, and then came across the river, and he played for my brother. And I still give my brother a hard time because my brother kept saying, I just don't know if he's going to be quite good. He runs good and all, but I don't know if he's tough enough or not. And I looked at my brother and said, what? There ain't never been another player like that here at South Caldwell. What are you talking about? He's not tough enough. And now look at him. So, good people, though. But no, we didn't get very far in the recruiting. Somehow in there, the Florida State, I think, that trumped us. But I sure didn't want him, yeah.
All right. That's the only question I had. Me and Landon went to Hickory together. I was 1 year ahead of him. But
yeah. Good people, though.
Awesome. Well, Donnie, thank you for joining the Boneyard Podcast. It's been a pleasure. We wish you the best. Stay in touch.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. And it was fun. I'm glad you asked me to do it. All right.
Oh, for sure. Maybe we'll get out on the golf course at some point.
That'd be good, too.
We could see all of our terrible swings.
All right, guys.
All right, Donnie. Have a good one.
I have to get off of here. I'll say bye.
All right. Once again, Donnie Kirkpatrick. Thank you to him for joining us on the Boneyard Podcast here. People say things. I'm sure we've said things. I know we've said things about Donnie Kirkpatrick. All in all, we can't deny he is a true pirate. He's a great pirate.
Yeah.
Like the amount that he's done for East Carolina University. I mean, he's given us 15 years of his life, dedicated it to the purple and gold. So once again, shout out to him. And on that, Artie, the end of an era. Taylor Swift, Eras Tour, Boneyard World Tour ends the 2023 season. Okay. But before we go,
love it.
On this episode 173, we got a couple more things to talk about. I know we've been going for a while now. Donnie gave us way more time than I could have ever imagined. I want to give a quick shout out to ECU Volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
Izzy. Hey, ECU Volleyball, give us more Izzy content. If you're listening, more Izzy content.
Yes.
I reached out to her and I congratulated her. If you didn't see this, ECU will be going to their first postseason, making their first postseason appearance starting this weekend.
That is awesome.
Inside Minges Coliseum. ECU has been invited to the National Invitational Volleyball Championship. That's a mouthful. I'm sorry. We don't need all that. The NIVC. First serve of the tournament is at 2:00 on Friday, December 1st. Georgia Southern will play Winthrop, and then the Pirates will take on the Citadel at 6 p.m. And then make sure you get out there to Minges. A lot going on in Minges this weekend. Get out there. Starts Thursday night with the basketball game, and then all weekend supporting the Pirates. It's single elimination. This is the best season ECU volleyball's ever had. 20-10 on the season.
Support these women.
Get out there, and then if you go, make a sign, say we love number 25, hashtag Boneyard Podcast, whatever. That's number 25 on the court, but number 1 in our hearts, Izzy Marinelli.
Yes.
All right. Anything else on volleyball, Artie? Josh, anything that you wanted to add? Did I miss anything? No.
I've got nothing else on volleyball.
He's Josh is giving me the thumbs up, so we're good. All right. State of Pirate Athletics. John Gilbert talks yesterday for his kind of State of the Union type press conference. A couple interesting things that were said. Talked a lot about NIL, right? And one thing that kind of stood out and kind of jumped out to a lot of people was he says that he believes we need $700,000 plus to be able to compete at this level. What are your thoughts on $700,000 for East Carolina to raise for the NIL?
Is that enough?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, look, we have to understand the kind of program that we are, what we can like reasonably ask for. So I would say that that's probably a decent number for where we are, but I will say that I don't think that's enough. I definitely think it's as much as we can possibly raise, obviously, but to try and get on the level of some of these other programs, at least to put ourselves in a position to maybe creep into conference realignment in the next few years if that does happen again, or at least be in the class of the American going forward. I mean, that's really the first step, is to try and get ourselves and just be at the top of the American. I think 700,000 is a good starting point, but I don't know if that's enough, to be completely honest with you. But I mean, hey, what do I know? NIL is new. I'm still not that educated. I'm still kind of ignorant on NIL and how much you need. But just all these other numbers that I see with some of these other programs, it just seems a little low to me.
Yeah. I think the number sounds low, but you got to remember you've got kids that are wanting NIL money in basketball. You've got kids that are wanting NIL money in baseball. You even got some athletes wanting NIL probably in women's basketball, right? With how good they've been. Like, you've got athletes that are wanting NIL money, and to keep those athletes and to compete in the American Athletic Conference, you're going to need it. But $700,000, that it shocks me, but it doesn't, right? Like, I think that I would have probably put that money at about $1 million. Like, if I'm just being honest, once again, I don't know. I'm not making decisions at the university level. Like, that's way above my pay grade, Artie, as a premier podcaster. So to me, $700,000, like, it shocked me, but it didn't.
But I will say, at least we're not being ignorant of what we need to do, though, right? We know exactly what we have to do to be able to compete in today's society of college football. So we know, okay, maybe that's just a start, but we know, like, we're not being naive to exactly what we have to. We have to be able to attract these kids. We have to be able to give them something. Being able to just convince a recruit that, hey, you get to play in Dowdy Ficklen Stadium in front of 55,000 people, and it's a beautiful atmosphere. We know that's not enough anymore, right? So it's got to be more. So at least we're not ignorant and naive to what we have to do.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I did mention that $700,000 was just for football. We're going to need more money than that as a whole. All right. Next thing that he talked about, the indoor practice facility. I mean, he says he's really pleased with where we are in the progress of building or getting our indoor practice facility funded. Yeah. He's talked about it being about a $20 to $25 million investment. And right now we're just a little north of 15 million, right?
Right.
So we've got $8 to $10 million to get to where we think we need to be. We're a little over halfway there, or we're a little over 2/4 of the way there, right? Yeah. With that being said, I mean, what does a $20 million indoor practice facility get you that $25 million practice facility doesn't get you? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
It's if we're being honest though, because ECU, facilities wise, we really do not have bad facilities. If we're being honest, if you go to some of these other schools, I mean, the only teams that are better are the cream of the crop teams. Like your legitimate, your ACC, SEC,
I mean,
Big 12,
Artie, I'm pretty sure
$1 billion.
I'm pretty sure we're the only D1 program in the state of North Carolina, or at least the FBS program in the state of North Carolina that doesn't have an indoor practice facility.
Well, let me finish. What I'm saying is I understand that's the last thing that we need to have to separate us and really put us where we want to be. We need an indoor practice facility, but we don't have shitty facilities as it is. Okay, we
Correct.
do not have shitty facilities. We just need to add an indoor practice facility. I think sometimes people may forget that we do have some pretty decent facilities in our own right as of right now. That's just the last thing that's putting us over the top is that indoor practice facility.
Yeah. If I won the lottery today, I'd fund the rest of it. And I'd fund all the NIL. But if ands and buts were something nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas or something. I don't know.
I have no idea what you're trying to say, Jared.
I don't know, Artie. Idioms.
Idioms.
Idioms for idiots. All right. That's about all we have. I mean, all in all, great pod. Artie, walk the plank. Do you have a walk the plank?
Ooh, I'm trying to think. Hey, do we have gambling corner? We're not doing that?
We do. We're gonna get to we got gambling corner.
Okay. We're just gonna do walk the plank first. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. You know what? I'm gonna make Jared Shaffett happy tonight. And I'm gonna say that my walk the plank is NBA related. It is this in-season tournament.
So stupid.
With you. I hate this in-season tournament. What I will agree with you on, Jared, is that I do not like professional athletes having to be incentivized to play hard. Your incentive is the fucking paycheck that you get that is got 6 zeros in the paycheck. That's your incentive to wake up every single day, go to the building, and play your ass off in front of people that actually got to go work a blue-collar job and really get their hands dirty. So I do not like basketball players having to be incentivized on top of what they already are incentivized as to play basketball. I hate it. I think the whole point differential bullshit where these players are trying to do weird stuff in games to get their point differential right. I don't like it. And I see what Adam Silver and the NBA was trying to do, but it's sad that we even have to do this, right? Can you imagine a Kobe or Jordan or Shaq or Tim Duncan ever having to be incentivized to go out and play their best basketball? Never. They love ball. They just love to go out, wake up, and ball. The money's an added bonus. They love to ball. So this whole in-season tournament, it can walk the damn plank.
Yeah, Artie, I've been blowing up the podcast group chat, talking about how much I hate the NBA, and it's just in the past it's been okay, but over the last week it's just honestly been so annoying. Now
the Popovich thing, I don't really mind the Popovich thing.
That's some soft ass shit.
I don't think he should have done it, but Popovich is one of the greatest ever. So at this point, he gets a mulligan for that. He gets a mulligan.
I don't care how great he is. That's some softer than baby shit stuff.
And Kawhi did help that team win a championship, and he was a Finals MVP in.
I don't care.
He doesn't really deserve that kind of treatment, but the fans have every right to boo. They have every right to boo.
I paid my ticket. I'm going to say what I want to say.
You're exactly right.
I mean,
customer, they have every right to boo.
I mean, you got to remember, Artie, I'm the guy that got thrown out of a ECU women's basketball game. So I'm going to talk my shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've booed former Hurricanes players, booed former Braves players. That's what happens. Okay. And I know that, I mean, Coach K's done it, but they were booing somebody at Duke that was a Duke alum. Hey, that's college. That's different. These guys are getting paid and benefiting from people coming to the games, and you're going to get mad at them for booing somebody? No, get out of here with that shit. Get out of here. That is soft. That is soft, and that is my problem with the NBA. The NBA, just like you were saying, they got to be incentivized to play.
Yeah,
they are soft. They are soft. I like my sports. This is very. I mean, this is already. I'm showing my old man yells at clouds. Look,
there is
I like my sports to be. I like my sports to be like, tough and oh.
But I will say fans, they have a certain threshold though. There's a barrier because at the end of the day we're all grown adults.
Right.
You can't be out there saying I hope your mom burns in hell or something like that.
Well,
like,
no.
that's over the top. That's over the line. You don't deserve to be in the building. But heckling and booing, that's just a part of the game.
Yeah.
That's just
that's part of the game. And
Yeah.
we're there to be entertained. Entertain me. You're getting paid handsomely to do so. If I'm not entertained, I'm gonna boo. Or if I don't like what you're doing, I'm gonna boo. That is me. I'm the fan. I sit in my seat in the nosebleeds, paying my $40 for a ticket, which I'm sure those tickets are much more expensive.
You went to NC State with me a few years ago just to be a troll. You didn't even care about the game. You just wanted to be a troll to NC State.
That was due to too many Bud Lights before the game, Marty. All right, gambling corner. Oh yeah, Greg Popovich walked the damn plank. All right, gambling corner. It's time, Marty. Championship weekend. Let's see it. Josh, you got okay. Here we go. This is an interesting game. You got
rematch.
Oregon, who I mean, the Heisman race is on the field, right? Like Michael Penix versus Bo Nix. They're going head to head for the Pac-12 championship. Las Vegas will be extremely busy with this game and the books. What is it? Washington plus 9.5. Over under is 66. A lot of points I feel are going to be scored in this game.
Yes.
Take the over. Take the over. How is Washington a 9.5 point dog?
I have no idea why they're a 9.5 point dog. Now, I will say Oregon is much better than what they were the first time they played. And Oregon still could have won that game the first time they played. But a 9.5 dog, yeah, that's and Josh was saying, okay, yeah, Dan Lanning's defense. But this is gonna be a close game. I would love for Washington to like ride it out and go because I'm a big Michael Penix fan. Been following him since Indiana. Really like Michael Penix, but I don't know. I think Oregon's a better team. I think Oregon gets revenge. I think they're a better team. Take the over. It's not going to be 9.5. Oregon wins this game like 35-32.
Yeah, I think Washington covers. I do think Oregon wins. I'll say 42-35.
Okay.
I think it's a barn burner. All right. Oklahoma State versus Texas. Oklahoma State knocked off Oklahoma in the final Bedlam game and for the foreseeable future, and now have their eyes on sending Texas back into the SEC, where it just means more, Artie, with a loss as well. Texas lost a great QB from the roster. Will they miss him in this game? Texas, 15-point dogs. Artie, or Texas are 15-point favorites. Sorry, I misspoke. But let me ask you. I mean, why is Texas ranked so low? Like that could be a walk the plank.
Where are they at? They're at 6, 7?
I believe they're at 6.
Well, they're not a top 4 team. And then at 5, you have what? Washington at 5? Well, who's at 5? I only know Georgia's 1, Michigan's 2. I wouldn't even pay attention to the rest of the college football playoff rank. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Let's see. It's Georgia, Oregon's 5, Texas is 6 or 7. But to me, like they're out of the playoff picture no matter what. Yeah, Texas is 7.
Texas is 7.
So they're probably out of the playoff picture no matter what.
No, not necessarily, because
you beat Oklahoma State. I mean, Ohio State's pretty much out of the picture.
Right. Ohio State has to have complete and utter chaos.
Like everybody needs to lose. Everybody, all the favorites need to lose.
Right.
for Ohio State to even have a shot. But
They
I
got to
don't,
have
I don't even
complete
see.
chaos.
I don't.
Texas just needs like one of those, favorites to lose. Like they need a Washington to lose, or they need a Florida State to lose to Louisville. Which Florida State without their quarterback, that's a possibility. Even though I know Louisville just dropped a one to Kentucky. But yeah, Florida State, Oregon. Texas doesn't need that much to get in. They need to win, obviously, and they need to win pretty convincingly. But they have that head-to-head against Alabama.
All right.
So,
all right, Artie. Oklahoma State, 15-point dogs. What do you think? Over under's 55.
Nah, Texas. Give me burnt orange, baby. Texas is going to win this game by a lot of points. I don't think this game's going to be that close. This is the first time in a long time Texas is legitimate. They have a chance. They know they have a shot. They know they need to come out and impose their will in this game. I don't think this game is that close. It might be close for a half, but the final score won't be that close.
Artie, I want all the chaos. Give me Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State lost to South Alabama earlier in the year, who also lost to Tulane earlier in the year. Tulane, congratulations. You're better than another SEC team.
Can we honestly? That's another walk the plank. Tulane being ranked 22nd is a damn travesty. You know some of the teams that are above Tulane in the polls. I mean, you got a Tennessee in front of them. I know you got Oklahoma State, I believe, in front of them. There's a couple other teams that are in front of them. Tulane being 22nd is a little low. They should be like 17, 18. 22nd is too low.
Yeah, especially with Tulane or with Liberty at 25. Liberty ain't played nobody.
Well, they're undefeated. You got to give them. You got to give them the respect.
You haven't played anybody.
You got to give them respect.
That's
Jerry.
If that's the case,
12-0 at the FBS level, you should at least be 25.
Tulane's 11-1 with their only loss being to Ole Miss,
and that's why they should be ranked higher than 22nd.
Exactly. But whatever. All right, what's next for us, Josh? All right, here we go. SMU at Tulane. Here's the problem, Artie. SMU as a 3.5-point dog against Tulane. SMU wins the American Athletic Conference. I don't think that they're gonna have SMU jump Liberty and then Tulane. I don't see that happening. If that happens, the American Athletic Conference loses out on a New Year's Six bowl to Liberty.
Yeah.
Just to see Liberty get blown out. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just what will happen. I think Tulane is a better football team, and I think they beat Tulane or Liberty. I think they beat James Madison. I think they beat them 9 times out of 10. With that being said, we need Tulane to win this game for the American Athletic Conference, which, by the way, Mike Oresco walked the damn plank. Let's say Tulane 3.5-point favorite, over under 47. Michael Pratt's that dude. Take the over. Tulane wins by a touchdown.
I will agree with the over. Yes, we do need Tulane to win this game. And I think Tulane will win this game. I think they're just a better football team than SMU. SMU's had kind of a pretty easy stretch down the stretch. I could honestly see this game not being that close. I could see Tulane winning this game by a couple scores. If they really wanted to. If they really come out and play their best football, they can beat SMU by 14 or more. And just real quick, because I do got these rankings pulled up. Tennessee 8-4, Oregon State 8-4, NC State 9-3, Oklahoma State 9-3. They're all ranked above Tulane in the CFP rankings. Every single one of them ranked above Tulane.
Not
they
surprised.
should be ranked above every single one of those teams. Notre Dame at 9-3 is kind of a toss-up, but the only they should absolutely be at 16, 17 in the rankings right now. That's absolutely absurd. That's absolutely absurd.
Well, Artie, that's just the joys of college football. All right. So you think Tulane blows them out, or not necessarily blows them out, but beats them?
Tulane wins. It won't be that hard. I don't think it'll be that hard of a game for Tulane. They win.
Yeah. SMU walked the damn plank. All right, what's up next? We got Georgia, Alabama. All right. Georgia's 6-point favorites. Over under 54.5. I think this game, I'm going to take the under here and give me Georgia.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to take the over. I think these offenses are going to put up some points in this SEC championship game. They'll do it in the second half. Georgia's a better team. Georgia probably should win this game. But Alabama scares me. I'm not going to lie. The last 6-7 games for Alabama, that quarterback of theirs has been playing phenomenal. So Alabama scares me. But give me Georgia. I think Georgia wins this one narrowly. But if Alabama wins, there's going to be a lot of chaos in that too. So there'll be a lot of chaos. You have Alabama as the SEC champion.
I mean, you can't put them in. If you put them in, you got to put Texas in.
You'd have to put Alabama in. One loss, SEC champion.
Their one loss is to Texas.
Right, but I mean, you would still. I just feel like you still had to put Alabama in. If you're looking at their strength of schedule, you would have to put Alabama in. And Georgia will still have a claim at 12-1.
Oh yeah, Georgia's in.
No matter what, if Alabama wins the SEC title on Saturday, it's going to be a lot of.
I just want chaos.
You're going to have 6 to 7 teams. Hold up now. We should be in there.
Yeah.
So.
All right, and then next is this the ACC? Oh damn.
What you saying? Oh damn! For you know he was putting this game in here. Stop playing with me, Jared.
I forgot all about this game.
You knew he was putting this game in here. Stop that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right,
you do put this game in.
Go ahead.
Hey, look, a 22.5 point favorite is wild though. 22. I'm sorry, 22 is wild. Iowa's defense is great.
Is this the lowest over under ever in a conference championship game?
And honestly.
Yes. Okay.
I could see it though. These are two great defenses. Michigan's defense is great. Iowa's defense is great. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I don't think Iowa's going to keep up with it just because their offense is terrible. And we know their quarterback, McNamara. Michigan's going to win.
He's not even their starter.
Go to the victors. See, that's how much I don't pay attention to Iowa. They're a non-factor. Hell to the victors, baby.
Cade's not even their starter. They got some. At least he wasn't this past weekend.
How many straight have we won over that team down south?
What's that? 3?
3.
All right.
Hell to the victors, baby.
Get off your stallion, Artie. You see what I did there? All right. Yeah, I want to say I'm for the chaos, but yeah, Michigan wins this game. I don't think that they cover 22 though.
That's way too high. I give Iowa's defense more respect than that. It's going to be a closer game than that.
Yeah, I think it's a closer game than that. And I'm taking the under just because I'm a sicko. All right, last but not least, fuck the ACC. Louisville, Florida State. Louisville 2.5 point favorite or 2.5 point dogs. Over under 47.5. FSU still without Jordan Travis. Give me once again. I'm for the chaos. Give me Louisville.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I want the chaos in this one. I would love to see Louisville knock off Florida State because I got no dog in this race. I just don't care.
I just don't want the ACC in the college football playoff.
Florida State doesn't even have their quarterback. Honestly, they would have been a good story if they still had Jordan Travis, but they don't even have Jordan Travis, and they would get ball walked by anybody in the playoff right now. So give me the chaos and give me Louisville.
All right, is that it? We only cover the good conferences here on the Boneyard Podcast, Artie. With that being said, that's it. That's the end of an era. Donnie Kirkpatrick. Thank you again to him. Make sure you subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast. I think we're on Amazon now. Maybe on iHeartRadio. I can't remember. There's so many to
iHeartRadio.
There's so many out there, but make sure you subscribe at Boneyard Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. If you do, you're best friend of the podcast for life. If you don't, you can walk the damn plank. Yeah. That's all I got. Did I miss anything? Follow us at Boneyard Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and YouTube. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's get the hell out of here, Artie. It's been way too long. An hour and a half, right on the dot.
Right on the T. Hey, look, they freeing my dog Harbaugh this weekend. He gets out this weekend, free Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Hell to the victors. Yes, thank you again to Donnie Kirkpatrick. As always, Pirate Nation, wash your hands, wash your butts. Until next time, deuce.
Peace.